Welcome to Get Shit Done with Georgie. We are officially live for our very first episode with Chike from Startup 52. So far we have no views, but that's okay. We're gonna get some views in a second. And we're really excited, so I'm gonna talk a little bit more about who he is.
Oh, gee. I mean, I could share it on my page and all that before we start.
Yeah. I mean, we're live, so this is happening. So just
Okay, cool. So hey, everyone, join us later. So this is Chike, founder of South 52. South 52 is a diversity-focused tech accelerator. Our mission is to help founders from what we call untapped communities to create access to resources, to capital, to exposure. The way we define untapped communities, I get always excited talking about it. People of color, women, immigrants, LGBTQ founders, disabled founders, veterans, and so on and so forth. So, looking forward to having this conversation with Georgie, and hopefully I have some to share with you today. Cool.
So, to start off, do you want to tell the audience how we met?
Right? I believe it was your first hackathon for Illicit Mind, somewhere downtown, I don't remember. And someone had actually asked me if I would want to be one of the judges for that. I'm like, yeah, sure, why not? I think that was the first time I met you in person. Like, you need someone to keep in your corner. So yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, that is exactly how we met for the very first time. That was my very first hackathon at which is on 25 Broadway. So, you've been here since the beginning. So
oh, wow.
Definitely.
Cool. Good to know.
Last year, you were a panelist at the Get Shit Done Summit that we had at DigitalOcean. Could you talk a little bit more about your role there? You were on the diversity and inclusion panel.
So I believe I was on the inclusion panel, just like you said, with 3 other people. I don't remember all their names now, but they were also awesome people. I know one though was a teacher. Science, not a teacher. The other one I want to say is
it was Ariel Lopez and Nena from Student Dream.
Yeah, Nena, exactly. So it was the 4 of us. It was 2 guys and 2 girls. And we had a wonderful discussion, actually. Centered around how we can improve diversity and inclusion in wherever spaces we are, or spaces that we were in. One of the things we talked about, besides, of course, being intentional in creating opportunities for people of diverse backgrounds and perspectives, is actually understanding the importance of diversity and inclusion, right? So every time I talk about diversity and inclusion, I always like to make sure people understand that it's not just a social thing. It's not, many people box it into the social impact endeavor, which, while it is, should at this point not be the focus. I think it should actually be central as opposed to an initiative, right? Because diversity, as we all know, improves the bottom line. And if people are in business to make money and profits, then diversity should be at the forefront. And it sort of amuses me when I see people who discredit diversity as being viable enough to increase your bottom line. So, that was, I think, one of the major points that came out. And I can go on and give some statistics on, the importance of why diversity is profitable, but, I don't know if we have all that time. So, yeah.
Yeah, and so you say, you guys had like a really great conversation at the Get Shit Done Summit of the real importance of diversity and inclusion. Do you want to talk about a little bit of what happened as a direct result of speaking at the summit? Was there anybody in particular that you met? Was there anything that came out of it? Did you after that?
So the great thing about Get Shit Done was, I believe, the audience, right? So besides, of course, being fascinated by the name, because it's like an action, right? Mm-hmm. Just do it. Sometimes we tend to talk and talk and talk and forget about the action part. So as usual, after every speaking engagement, you do get people who come up to you who either agree or disagree with what you said, what you say. And in my case, it was mostly people who agreed with the perspectives that came from the panel, right? So it was about building relationships. There were students there, there were founders there who wanted to learn more about Startup 52. There were those who came to ask about internship opportunities. There are those who, I think there was one or two who actually said, hey, this is something that we've been thinking about, right? So we're predominantly white male startup that is growing. And as we grow, we've been thinking about how to incorporate, diversity and inclusion, but I'm not very sure how to do that, that the panel sort of helped them figure out one or two things. So I believe I had one or two discussions after that with them on how to actually get stuff rolling in the way they intentionally, once again, incorporate and reach out to different demographics to ensure that they can build a diverse and inclusive ecosystem. So yeah.
Nice. And that, that's what it's really about, making sure that it's not just talk, you walk the walk, that you're actually doing and getting stuff done, as my mantra is, because a lot of people have talk, but not a lot of people have actions to match that talk that they have.
Exactly. And social media has amplified all the internet experts who do more talk than action. And talking is good because you learn from it. But also, if we had as many people who are talking, I think we would have a lot more impact than we do currently have now. So, yeah.
I definitely agree. So what have you been up to since, the summit? I kind of know what you've been working on, but let the world know, like, what are you getting done right now? Like, what are you doing?
Oh, wait, that summit was in 2015, right?
No, it was 2016, November.
November 2016.
The hackathon was 2015.
No, it's 2015. Okay, so actually, the funny thing is a lot has happened since November, I would say. So we launched a pilot episode of Tech in Colors, which is a 5-episode pilot season. I may jump back into that, as soon as I can get sponsorship, because it's expensive to produce stuff. Besides that, Startup 52 has actually gone through, a couple of things. One is one of Entrepreneurs 360, America's best entrepreneurial companies. I tell people I honestly don't know how that happened, but yeah, we're there on that list, so that was great. And then we're also a finalist for the National Diversity Awards, Code Interactive National Awards, whatever, for diversity. So that was cool as well. Besides that, there was like an explosion sort of applications. So last year, we launched in 2015. For the first year, we had, I think, 145 or 47 applications. Accepted 4, ended up with 4 for the first class. For the second class, we're like, okay, fine. Maybe we can do 7. We can go from 4 to 7. But then we ended up with over 450 applications from 37 countries. Yeah, so we ended up with a class of 18 from 5 countries. Yeah. Now, for the third class, which we had to push back from this summer into the fall, I think we're probably at around 800 applications now. And it's still going to be for 20 seats maximum. But the other exciting thing is we're looking at launching a South 52 class in Nigeria. That way, some of the African applicants or applicants from the continent, can do Nigeria instead of coming to the US. So there are a few things, that we take into motion. We also recently started talking to corporate sponsors to try to raise some capital, operational capital. We've met with 20 delegations, international delegations, that have reached out to sort of learn how to build inclusive and diverse ecosystems, which has been exciting. In fact, we're thinking about ways to start to monetize that now. So there are a lot of moving parts on the Startup 52 side. And I tell people, if I had grown up in America, I would have been, that ADHD student who would have probably been medicated, because I always have a hand in something. The initiative I want to talk about now, you are actually involved in that, the Black World Collective, which is actually born from the need to help, our communities, build more wealth, collective wealth, right? And the question before I decided to launch that was, there are several things going on today, right? There are several initiatives that are focused on the same thing, building wealth. But how can we, this system, how do we ensure that we can build a framework that does not leave anyone out, right? Because I feel like some of the things we have in place now are somewhat a little bit too for some people, right? So what we're trying to do is, set the bar low in a good way. Usually when you say setting the bar low, people think you're, discrediting achievement. No, in this case, it's to actually, just like a grassroots movement, I would say. And you know about this. So we're working on it collaboratively now to launch the Black World Collective October 9th. Yeah, so maybe Georgie, you want to talk about it a little bit more, and then I can supplement.
So, as you guys know, I love getting stuff done. So I'm working with Chike for the Black Wealth Collective, because we see that the Black community as a whole needs a stronger foundation in wealth. And so through the Black Wealth Collective, we're just going to be providing that, education about wealth, helping people to find out, what happened to Black wealth, was there ever Black wealth, and how can we collectively work together to build a foundation so that our children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren will have something that has been passed down to them, and help them to create a wealth of their own, just to not start from scratch. Because both Chike and I are immigrants to the US, and we have a slightly different story, but everyone from the African and the Black diaspora should be working together in order to create, more generational wealth in the United States, abroad, just as a whole, for our cultures and our community, because that's how we're going to thrive and survive, instead of everyone kind of starting from scratch and kind of being told to pull themselves up by their bootstraps. You got to have boots in order to do that. So as you said, we're doing it grassroots mansion, but we're just teaching you how to, set and prepare to have boots, to then hand down these boots to your successors, your children, your grandchildren, and so on. So look out for that. You guys all know I plan great events, and I'm working with Chike for this event, so October 9th, and I'll be posting more updates about that as we go along as well.
Yep. So I'm really excited about it. Very excited about the goal of what we're working on. And I think it's something that we should really all be excited about. I think once we sort of into motion, the results and will be tangible and awesome. So yeah,
Definitely. So we have no viewers on our awesome live, but that's okay. This is our very first episode. We'll probably have Chike come back to celebrate like the 50th episode when we have a bajillion followers.
sure.
So the last thing I want to wrap up with is how can people reach you? You know, let's say they watch the video afterwards and they want to get in touch with Chike, they want to talk to you, ask you a question, join the accelerator or Black Wealth Collective. How can they do that?
I usually tell people I'm easily, on social media pretty much. You can find me anywhere. If I were to commit any crime, God forbid, it would be very easy to find me, right? So my email, of course, is first name Chike @startup52.com. You can always shoot me an email. I hate emails, by the way, so just keep sending them until I respond. You can find me on LinkedIn, Chike Ukaegbu, first and last name. I'm more responsive on LinkedIn. Facebook is facebook.com/live with Chike. That's my public page. And for those of you who want to hear me rant about everything in life, I also have a personal page which you can reach out to me for. Twitter is first and last name at Chike Ukaegbu as well. Yeah, Blackwell Collective, go join the group, go like the page. Just look for Blackwell Collective on Facebook. We're on there. We have a website, thanks to Georgie. It's honestly a firebrand. I'm so excited and very honored to have met Georgie. So yeah, and like I said, feel free to reach out. I love to answer questions. As you can see, I love to talk as well. So yeah, if you have a question, feel free to shoot me something and I'll be happy to respond.
Yeah, and all of Chike's, for those on YouTube, all of Chike's information will be in the comments and section below, as well as I'm going to share his information in the comment section of Facebook. Thank you so much, Chike. Congratulations of being #1 on the #1 channel. And I really appreciate it. I'll talk to you soon, and thanks for whoever's going to be watching this video in the future. Holla at Chike and stay tuned for the next episode of Get Shit Done with Georgie Live.
It's always a pleasure.
You're welcome.